Welcome to Last Dawn Stories channel. My sister and I unexpectedly obtained two systems. One was a 100x magnification system, and the other was a 100x reduction system. My sister happily chose the reduction system, leaving me with the remaining one. Little did we know, 3 days later, a torrential downpour brought about an apocalyptic scenario, trapping everyone at home with no way to move, and resources became the biggest issue. I managed to stretch our limited supplies by using the amplification system, living frugally, and ultimately pulled through the crisis with my sister. Unexpectedly, after the storm ended, my sister pushed me off the high-rise building. If you hadn't taken my amplification system, I could have used it to enlarge food and save Lucas's family. You're perfect in every way, sister, except for being so selfish. When I was reborn again and my sister chose the amplification system before I could. I knew she had been reborn too. I laughed, using the shrinking system to shrink enough food to last me 5 years, while also shrinking myself. Thus, I vanished from everyone's sight. Please choose your respective systems. Why does this line and this scene feel so familiar? My mind was still in a daze. Hadn't I just been pushed off the building by my sister? It took me a while to snap out of the overwhelming sense of weightlessness. My sister also froze for a moment before immediately choosing. I want to amplify the system. Understood. The system is now bound to you. My sister gave me a triumphant glance, her eyes brimming with unconcealed joy. I finally understood. I had been reborn on the very day my sister and I were to choose our systems. I sneered inwardly. Since you adore your Lucas so much and despise me, the sister who saved your life, to the core, then this time, I won't lift a finger for you. Watching my overjoyed sister, I thought. Then I'll just take the shrinking system. Understood. The system is now bound to you. Eager to try out her new system, the sister casually enlarged a nearby cup by 100 times. The small cup instantly transformed into a gigantic one. Wow, it's real. The enlargement system is really mine now. I watched my sister coldly. This was the sister I had desperately protected, in my past life. The sudden onset of a torrential apocalypse trapped everyone at home, with supplies running critically low. Our household still had a few boxes of instant noodles and bread, which I managed to amplify using the magnification system, allowing us to barely survive the 5-year deluge. My sister's childhood friend Lucas lived right across from us. She begged me to help his family amplify their food, but I refused, wary of the unpredictable nature of human hearts in an apocalypse. Without my help, the Lucas family naturally couldn't last 5 years and starved to death long ago. I survived the apocalypse, only to die at the hands of the sister I desperately protected. How ironic, sister. The enlargement system is mine now. Aren't you jealous? After all, I can enlarge anything I want, while your shrinking system seems pretty useless. My sister seemed to be testing whether I had been reborn, her eyes still carrying a hint of wariness. I let out a sigh of relief and forced a casual smile. What's the difference? It's just a system. If you like it, take it. I don't mind either way. Seeing that I had no interest in the amplification system whatsoever, my younger sister finally relaxed and smiled. I knew that this time, my sister would definitely go to save her childhood sweetheart's family, and once people found out about this system, she would never be safe in the apocalypse. Everyone would covet this system. The younger sister excitedly ran out of the house and knocked on Lucas's door. Lucas was puzzled. Julia, what brings you here? The sister immediately affectionately linked arms with Lucas, ignoring the look of disdain on his face, and said with a smile, Lucas, let's go inside to talk. As soon as the door across the way closed, I immediately opened my phone to check the date, 14th. There are still 3 days left before the heavy rain arrives. There's still time. I immediately drove to the nearby supermarket and swept through all the food, drinks, and supplies, instant noodles, bread, and other long-lasting foods, as well as daily necessities like toilet paper, combs, mirrors, blankets, and pillows. I also bought rice flour and seeds for various vegetables, to ensure I'd always have meat to eat. I even purchased a batch of baby chicks. I also went to the furniture store and picked out a complete set of furniture for myself. I'm preparing to create a brand new little home for myself. My apartment is on a high floor. Even during the prolonged heavy rains in my previous life, it never posed a threat to me. I don't plan to leave my house, but rather, I intend to live in a different way. I went on a crazy shopping spree until I completely emptied my bank account. In contrast, my sister knew the storm was coming but showed no panic or preparation. My sister knew her amplification system could enlarge food, so she wasn't worried at all. In fact, she was somewhat looking forward to it. Of course I knew what my sister was hoping for. She wanted to jump in and save her childhood friend Lucas's family during the food shortage, then have Lucas fall in love with her. I always thought she just had a crush on Lucas, but I never realized she was such a hopeless romantic. When my sister came home that evening, her eyes were full of pink bubbles, as if she were already diving in the sea of love with Lucas. Sis, if I save Lucas's family, assuming I can save them, do you think he'll fall in love with me? My sister looked blissful, with a hint of shyness. I said coldly, no, impossible, Lucas would definitely like me. Sister, tell me the truth, do you like Lucas? But you're 2 years older than him, so don't even think about him. I ignored my sister's words and just lowered my head to browse online shopping for the things I needed. I've already been killed once by my sister, and I absolutely won't let it happen a second time. This time, you can die by yourself. Sis, do you have any money left? Lend me a few thousand, will you? I want to buy some food. My sister smiled cheerfully, but my face remained cold. No, I just bought a fridge and spent all my money. My sister immediately let out a sharp scream. Why did you buy a refrigerator? I frowned. I wanted to replace the old one. Is that not allowed? Why are you reacting so strongly? Realizing she had overreacted, my sister quickly composed herself and said with a smile, no, I was just curious. Hee, sis, I remember you still had some food in your room, right? I've already taken it to give to the elderly living alone in our neighborhood. Life isn't easy for them, so you wouldn't be mad, would you? My sister smiled brightly, as if waiting for me to praise her kindness. I never expected that after my sister's rebirth. Not only had she obtained the magnification system she desired, but she also handed over my last remaining supplies to someone else. This is clearly an attempt to push me to my death. If I hadn't been reborn and didn't have a system, I definitely wouldn't survive this apocalyptic rainstorm. Watching my sister's radiant smile, my disgust for her only grew stronger. I consider myself to have been very good to my younger sister. When our parents passed away during our childhood, I, as the elder sister, took on their responsibilities, dropping out of school early to support her education. Even when her grades were poor, I never blamed her. Her living expenses were always significantly higher than those of her peers, all funded by my hard-earned money. Later, when my sister didn't get into college, I had already managed to buy an apartment in the city through my own efforts, so I brought her to live with me. Little did I know that living across from us was Lucas, my younger sister's childhood sweetheart. The two of them played together often as kids, but later Lucas's family was relocated due to urban redevelopment. They received a hefty compensation package and moved away from the village. Yet the moment my sister laid eyes on the handsome Lucas, she immediately developed feelings for him and began relentlessly pursuing him, even during the apocalyptic rainstorm, when I refused to help his family. My sister took advantage of my absence and secretly gave away a third of our supplies to Lucas's household. I had no choice but to lock the door tightly to prevent others from coming to steal supplies, so in my sister's eyes, I couldn't even compare to a man who had done nothing for her. I was completely disappointed in my sister. It's fine. My sister came over with a smile and hooked her arm through mine. Hee, you're the best, sis. I knew you wouldn't be mad at me over such a small thing. I pried her arms open. I'm a bit tired. I'm going to bed now. You should get some rest too. I turned and retreated into my room, starting to plan a place for myself to stay. I also bought wind power equipment, ensuring I'd have a steady supply of electricity even during storms. I've already gathered everything I need. Now I just need to wait quietly for the remaining time. My sister, convinced she had an amplification system, wasn't worried at all. She secretly used her pocket money to buy hundreds of dollars worth of food and locked it in her room, as if afraid I would steal from her. I immediately abandoned the house I had bought. If I continued hiding there, no matter how careful I was, they might still find me, so I set my sights on another place. That would be another secret room in my bedroom. This was a small space I specifically carved out during the house renovation, and I've never told my sister about its existence. The room isn't large, just about the width of a small bathroom, but for my shrunken self, it was a safe haven. The room's controls require my mobile device, so I'm not at all worried about my sister discovering it. Even if she did, she couldn't open it. Beyond that, I even drove to a wilderness over 10 kilometers away and used the shrinking system to miniaturize a pile of soil. This way, I'll be able to use the soil and seeds to grow vegetables and become self-sufficient. I also downsized several trees and took them back with me. In the blink of an eye, all the food and furniture I ordered arrived. At this point, there was only one day left before the heavy rain came. I chose the delivery address to be the rural house where I used to live. that village had long been deserted, with hardly anyone living there anymore. The house was filled with furniture, appliances, food, and all sorts of little things, taking advantage of the moment when no one was around. I used the shrinking system to shrink everything and packed it all into the box I had prepared earlier. Finally, after a moment of hesitation, I decided to shrink my small bungalow and take it with me as well. Though a bit old, with some renovation, it would still be livable. Taking advantage of the quiet night, I drove home overnight and stored all these things in the secret room. My sister had been unusually excited these days, believing she was fully prepared. So she didn't pay any attention to my whereabouts. I had already installed an air filtration system in the secret room, so even if I lived there for years, I wouldn't have to worry about running out of oxygen. I didn't shrink the 5 bottles of mineral water but instead opened them and poured the water into a small tank to serve as a future water source. There are also electric lights installed inside, and I can control the switches with my own phone, after a whole night of my careful arrangement. The secret room has completely turned into a tiny farm. The super tiny chicks chirping is barely noticeable as they bury their heads in the haystack hunting for bugs. Outside the farm is my small house, fully equipped with all kinds of household appliances. Now I can finally relax and quietly wait for the storm to come. On the last half day, my sister ran to Lucas's house again. Lucas's family didn't seem to like her. But my sister didn't care about their opinions and kept sneaking into Lucas's room. I heard Lucas's mother complain to the aunties downstairs more than once. That girl across the hall has no shame at all. She's already grown up but still runs into my son's room every day. Utterly shameless. A neighbor immediately teased her. Looks like she's got her eyes on your son. You're about to have a daughter-in-law. Lucas's mom snapped back. Nonsense. Don't you know, she didn't even get into college. And now in her 20s, she still doesn't have a proper job. She just lazes around at home, living off her sister. That pitiful thing thinks she can marry my son. No way. My son is tall, handsome, and has a good job. How could she ever measure up? That's not. I remained silent, pretending not to hear anything. There was 1 hour left before the storm arrived, so I called my younger sister. Hello, sis, what's up? My voice lacked any emotion. Something came up at work. I'm working overtime tonight and won't be coming back. My sister seemed to hesitate for a moment, but in the end, she didn't remind me of anything, only saying, all right, then I'll eat by myself tonight. Hang up now. As expected, she wouldn't remind me to be careful either. Anyway, the only reason I called was to create a diversion, to make her think I had already left home. Then I controlled my phone to open the secret compartment in the bedroom, squeezed myself inside, and carefully closed the door. I activated the shrinking system once again, but this time it wasn't an object being shrunk, it was me. After a dizzying whirl, I was completely miniaturized, and what had been a cramped secret room now appeared remarkably spacious. The reason I dared to risk shrinking myself was that in my previous life, I had noticed objects enlarged by the magnification system miraculously returned to their original size after the heavy rain stopped. So I guess the shrinking system works the same way. It will deactivate after the heavy rain stops, returning things to their original size. Looking at the land, the green trees, the chicks, and the house, my heart felt exceptionally fulfilled. Now I no longer have to worry about the heavy rain. While my sister was away from home, I installed hidden cameras inside the house and in the corridor outside the door. This way, I can monitor every move inside and outside the house through my phone. Just to be safe, I even installed one outside Lucas's door. This surveillance device is of excellent quality, offering not only clear video but also the ability to distinctly hear even the slightest sounds. After completing these tasks, I tucked my phone into my pants pocket, hoisted the hoe onto my shoulder, and walked into the field to begin plowing the land with great care. Once the land was plowed, I scattered the seeds, added some fertilizer, and watered the area. A flock of chicks gathered around my feet, pecking at them. I waved my hand to shoo them away, then opened a bag of chicken feed to feed them. I learned from my phone that the heavy rain has already started, but no one realized it wouldn't stop. Many people complained on social media that the rain was too heavy to work. I'm now cut off from the world, and the only things I can use to contact the outside are this phone and my computer tablet. Several days passed, and the heavy rain still hadn't stopped, causing significant difficulties for the city's transportation. My sister wasn't surprised by my disappearance. She probably thought I had drowned in the flood. These past few days, I've been busy plowing the fields, planting vegetables, and feeding the chickens in my small farm. The only thing that worries me is the chicks constantly stealing bites of my tender vegetable sprouts, with nothing better to do. I checked the surveillance footage and was shocked to see that my sister had actually brought Lucas into my home. They sat in the living room, my sister wearing a smug smile on her face. "Lucas, do you still have food at home?" Lucas looked somewhat annoyed. "Not much, I should have stocked up more. Now the first floor is almost flooded, and I can't get out at all." Lucas then turned to his sister. "Julia, do you still have food at home? Can you share some with me? I have our parents and little sister at home, and the little food we have isn't enough for all of us." His sister punched him lightly on the chest and then playfully drew circles on it. The younger sister clung to Lucas, whispering into his ear, "How is that possible? Such a thing exists." Lucas suddenly stood up, his face full of disbelief. "Of course it does. If you don't believe me, take a look." My sister immediately used the magnification system to enlarge an apple on the table, which instantly grew larger and pressed heavily on the table. Lucas's expression shifted from initial disbelief to overwhelming joy, and he quickly grabbed his sister's shoulders. "Julia, thank goodness you're here. Could you please enlarge all the food in our house?" My sister nodded shyly. "Okay, Lucas, but I have a small request." Lucas hesitated. "Almost not at all. You speak. You know I like you, don't you, Lucas? Since I can save your whole family, could you like me too?" The younger sister shyly covered her eyes, completely unaware of the complex and somewhat disgusted expression on Lucas's face. Lucas then quickly switched to a tender and affectionate demeanor, taking the younger sister's hand. "What silly talk is this? Haven't we been together all along? You know, we were childhood sweethearts, and of course I like you now too. Once this heavy rain stops, I'll marry you." The younger sister happily threw her arms around Lucas's neck. "That's wonderful. I knew you liked me too, Lucas. My older sister said you wouldn't like me, but I think she was just jealous." "What about your sister then?" the younger sister said carelessly. "Oh, her, she said she was going to work overtime. With this heavy rain lasting so long, she's probably already drowned by now." A sly grin flashed across Lucas's face as he coaxed his younger sister into bringing out all the supplies from her room. Watching the surveillance footage, my heart churned with mixed emotions. How did I end up raising such a foolish sister? Stupidity is one thing, but to be this wicked, it's as if she can't wait for her older sister to die. But what does this have to do with me? After all, no one could possibly know I'm hiding here. I just need to live my little life in peace. I went back into the house and cooked myself a hot pot meal, then grabbed a drink from the fridge and happily started my dinner. Not only did I enjoy the meal thoroughly, but I also took photos of the food and posted them on my social media. The caption read, "While a storm rages outside, enjoying hot pot at home feels absolutely amazing." I didn't expect my younger sister to immediately comment on my WeChat moments. "Sis, where are you?" Not satisfied with just commenting on my moments, she then sent me several WeChat messages. "Sis, it's pouring rain outside. Are you okay, sis? Where are you? Still eating hot pot? I wanna eat too, sis. Can you tell me where you are? It's pouring rain and I can't go out. Can you bring me some food?" I didn't respond to any of her questions, just took another photo of the drink I was having and sent it to her. "The drink is delicious, and the hot pot is steaming hot, so good." My sister immediately called me back. "Sis, how can you still have hot pot? Can you bring some back for me? I've been eating bread for days, sis, hungry. Food, although that's what my sister said. I could sense another layer of meaning in her urgent tone. "How come you're eating so well during this apocalyptic rainstorm?" I laughed, looking up around me. Everything was quiet, completely unaffected by the storm outside. "I'm still at the office. The company treated us to hot pot. The rain is too heavy. I can't go back. Find something to eat at home by yourself." Seeing this, my younger sister immediately started acting spoiled with me like before. "No way, sis, the bread at home is so gross. I want hot pot too." I refused right away. No, she wanted to say something more, but I hung up the phone. I checked the surveillance footage and, sure enough, saw my sister raging at her phone, no longer the picture of a well-behaved little sister. It must have been exhausting for her to play the role of the obedient girl for so many years. I then opened my tablet to start binge-watching. I had stored hundreds of novels, anime, and TV shows on it, more than enough to pass the time during dull days. After eating and drinking to my heart's content, I lay down on the bed and started to laze around. I casually picked up my phone, logged into the surveillance app, and switched to the camera outside Lucas's house. Soon after, I heard Lucas and his sister's voices. "Julia is really amazing, isn't she? Now our family won't have to worry about food and drink. Wow, we really hit the jackpot." This is Lucas's mother's voice. It seems their family already knows about the younger sister having the amplification system. The younger sister's voice carried a hint of pride. Auntie, you flatter me. Being able to use this system to save your family was also my wish. After all, we're going to become one family soon. The air seemed to suddenly grow quiet. Lucas's parents quickly chimed in to keep her happy. Of course, without Julia. How could we have gotten so much food? Lucas is truly lucky to be with you. I always said you're such a delightful girl. The younger sister was so flattered by their praise that she was completely over the moon. I sneered and turned off the surveillance. I knew exactly what kind of people Lucas and his whole family were. Back when they first got the demolition compensation, they immediately started looking down on everyone in the village. Even driving away all their former relatives and friends with their own harsh words. They always assumed others approached them just for that demolition money. Many villagers say they've become too arrogant, even refusing the village chief a drink of water when he passed by their house. How could people like this possibly treat my sister with genuine kindness? And that Lucas, I've always sensed his arrogance since childhood. He's made plenty of disparaging remarks about my sister, both openly and behind her back, never truly respecting her from the start. But there's no way I can interfere now. After all, I've been shrunk to 1/100th of my size. It wasn't long before my sister called. Her voice on the other end of the line was full of pride. Big sis, I have great news. I'm already with Lucas. Oh, my tone was so indifferent it was as if she'd just told me it was raining again today. I said while feeding the chickens, what did you call me for? The chicks have grown quite a bit, but they're still chirping noisily, constantly fighting over the food. Sis, why do I hear chickens on your end? Oh, because I'm feeding the chickens. My sister was instantly dumbfounded. With such heavy rain pouring down, where did you get the chicken from? I didn't answer her question directly, only saying, raised it. The green vegetables and eggplants I had planted earlier had already sprouted from the soil, from time to time. I had to go outside to pull weeds and water them. The meat I bought earlier is all stored in the freezer, enough to last me a long time. My sister clicked her tongue. Sis, where on earth are you? How come you can have hot pot and raised chickens there? Hasn't the heavy rain affected your place at all? No, how could my sister possibly imagine that I haven't gone anywhere and am just staying in my own bedroom, just a wall apart? Yet it's two completely different worlds. That's great. The heavy rain hasn't affected you there, sister. Quickly tell me where you are. I'll bring Lucas and the others over. After all, we'll be family soon. My voice carried a hint of sarcasm. Find it yourself then. If you can locate me, come ahead. What do you mean by that? Don't want us to come? My elder sister had always been at her younger sister's beck and call since childhood, but this was the first time she had spoken to her in such a sarcastic tone. I kicked aside a chick blocking my way and strode back to the house from the farmland. My fridge was stocked with plenty of pre-made meals, including pre-made pizza, steamed buns, mantou, dumplings, and more. I turned on the electric fan again and took the baked pizza out of the microwave. The pizza turned golden after reheating, looking both fragrant and soft, so I casually took a photo and sent it to my sister. Ah, how do you still have pizza there, sis? Tell me where you are right now. You're so selfish. I'm here munching on dry bread and instant noodles, and you're eating pizza. My sister sounded both frantic and a little whiny, desperately trying to get my address out of me. I took a big bite of the stretchy cheese, chewed twice, and just said, wow, 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 this pizza is so delicious. The cheese is even stretchy. Sis, no matter how good things are over there, your food supply is limited. What use is your shrinking system? My enlarging system can multiply your food. It'll last you for years without any problem. Just tell me where you are, and I'll come find you. When has she ever genuinely wanted to come to me? She just can't stand seeing me doing well. I repeated the same line. If you can find me, then come. With that, I hung up the phone and watched my sister throw a tantrum on the surveillance feed, smashing everything in my room in helpless fury. Before long, the news that my younger sister possessed an amplification system spread throughout the entire neighborhood. As for who leaked this information, the answer was obvious without saying. My sister's door was knocked on repeatedly, as everyone brought their remaining food to her, hoping she could help them amplify it. At first, my sister was at a loss and even considered pretending she didn't have the system to avoid the situation. To my surprise, the Lucas family across the street immediately rushed out, with Lucas's parents blocking the person seeking help. Hey, Julia is practically our future daughter-in-law. If you want to use the system, you need our family's permission. Using the system consumes a lot of Julia's energy. You have to pay. Julia was initially annoyed that Lucas's parents had revealed her possession of the system to others, but she couldn't help laughing when she heard this reasoning. That's right. Julia is my girlfriend, if you want her to work, you have to pay. Lucas openly wrapped his arm around his sister's waist, while she leaned against him with a shy expression, and so, Lucas's family started their business, all thanks to his sister. Anyone who asked his sister to use the amplification system had to pay Lucas $2,000. $2,000 wasn't cheap, but with the severe shortage of supplies after the storm, money couldn't even buy food anymore. It seems like a win-win deal, but from the surveillance, I've noticed that more and more people are coming to my sister to use the system, and they're doing so increasingly frequently. What does that mean? It means they also believe that as long as my sister has the amplification system, they'll never starve, but they're overlooking one thing: the system can amplify food, but only if you have food to begin with. The system can only be used once on the same item. There's no possibility of eating half, saving the other half, and then continuing to use the system to enlarge it, infinitely multiplying food. 3 full years passed, and not a single person in the neighborhood starved to death, all thanks to my sister's enlargement system. As a result, everyone began to let their guard down, indulging in endless eating, drinking, and merrymaking. But by the end of the 3rd year, the crisis finally emerged. The food in everyone's home had already run out. And even after being amplified by my sister's system, it still wasn't enough to eat. Resources were extremely limited, and the amplification system no longer provided an advantage, so the neighborhood began to descend into chaos. Fights and arguments over supplies broke out everywhere. My sister had long since moved into Lucas's home, becoming part of their family, through eavesdropping on the surveillance. I learned that Lucas's family was also aware that fewer and fewer people were coming to seek out his sister to use the amplification system, and this business was no longer profitable. However, his sister continued to eat their food and live in their house, which had already caused dissatisfaction among them. They discussed finding an excuse to kick her out, so Lucas turned around and broke up with his sister, bluntly saying, "I don't love you anymore." My sister cried and screamed desperately. But the whole family threw her out. In the apocalyptic rainstorm, no one cared who my sister loved. Everyone only had their own interests in mind. My sister could only wail at their doorstep for a day and a night before slinking back to my home in disgrace. But by then, the house had long been emptied by Lucas's family. All the food my sister had stockpiled had been moved to their home. Now this house is just an empty shell. Although my sister went to make a scene outside their house, in the end, all she got was their curses. There was no way they would return the food. My sister finally began to panic, and what was I doing at this moment? I live a leisurely little life on my small farm. When I'm hungry, I pick some greens and stir-fry them with meat. If I don't feel like cooking, I just grab some pre-made food from the fridge and quickly fry it up. When I have free time, I can even mix myself a drink. The first thing I do every morning is feed the chickens, then make myself breakfast, and finally go to the farm to check on the vast fields of greens, potatoes, eggplants, tomatoes, corn, and more that I've planted. If you feel sleepy at noon, take a nap. After waking up, binge-watch dramas or anime, and casually eat and drink whatever you like. The only slightly tiring part is that there are no insects in this place, so I have to pollinate the fruits and vegetables one by one myself. But these are all minor issues. After 3 years without any news from me, my sister tentatively called again. She probably thought I was already dead, never expecting that I'd actually answer the call. "Sis, you're alive. That's great. I thought you might have been killed by the storm." I munched on a cucumber while watching a drama on my tablet. "What did you call me for?" My sister's voice carried a hint of tears. "Sis, you have no idea how Lucas and his family treated me. They used my amplification system to make money. And now that no one comes to me for the system anymore, they just kicked me out of the house." Oh, Lucas clearly promised to marry me, but now he wants to break up. His whole family is just a bunch of money-grubbing scoundrels. They've ruined me, and now there's nothing left to eat at home. Oh. I took another bite of the cucumber, the crisp sound of chewing echoing clearly. My sister immediately started playing the victim. "Sis, can you come pick me up right away? I'll really starve to death without food." "You wouldn't want to see your only sister starve, would you, sis?" My voice remained calm. "No way." My sister seemed to sense something was off, her voice involuntarily rising like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. "Why don't you care about me at all, sis? You weren't like this before." My sister immediately shouted, "Have you also been reborn?" Only then did I let out a light laugh. "Yeah, what about it? If you were reborn too, why didn't you tell me?" you must know what kind of people Lucas and the others are, right? Why didn't you tell me anything? How can you be so selfish?" Without saying more, I simply sent her a video. In the video, my fruits and vegetables are thriving, chickens are running around everywhere, the house is decorated warmly, and the fridge is stocked with food and snacks. There's no sign of any damage from the heavy rain. It's like being in another world. As soon as the video was sent, my sister immediately flew into a rage. "How can you be so selfish? Do you know how much I'm suffering right now? Come and take me away quickly." "Selfish? Weren't you selfish when you pushed me off the building in our past life? Now that you've been reborn, you knew about the storm but never told me. Isn't that selfish too?" My younger sister seemed to take my kindness for granted, never considering how she should repay me in return. "I'm not some pushover either. Since you don't treat me as family, there's no need for me to save you again, sis. I must have been possessed to be so infatuated with that Lucas. You can't abandon me, I'm your only sister. If I starve to death, you'll have no family left." I said it casually. "Oh, then just die, what's it to me?" With that, I hung up the phone, already picturing how furious my sister must be on the other end. Through the surveillance, I could see my sister going crazy and smashing things all day inside the house. Especially in my bedroom where everything was completely destroyed, but smashing things couldn't fill her stomach, and no matter how much my sister vented, it was useless. One day, I noticed my sister had brought back some bread, and through the outdoor surveillance, I realized she had stolen it from Lucas's house. The entire Lucas family had gone out, leaving only Lucas's 6-year-old sister at home. The sister tricked her into opening the door, then stole all the food from their house. Seeing this scene in the surveillance footage, I couldn't help but burst out laughing. What a classic case of dog eat dog, absolutely hilarious. It nearly killed me with laughter. Sure enough, when the Lucas family returned home and found all their food gone, they flew into a rage, kicking and stomping at my front door while hurling insults. My sister remained inside like a turtle retracting into its shell, refusing to come out. My front door is extremely sturdy. I specifically chose the most impact-resistant model during renovations, so even though the Liu family spent 3 full days and nights beating and cursing outside my door, they posed absolutely no threat to my sister inside. Unexpectedly, at this moment, Lucas shamelessly turned to his sister again and said, "Julia, don't be petty. If you return the food to us, we can get back together." Okay, everything I said before was just out of anger. I still love you, really. We even promised to get married, don't you remember? Lucas, separated by a door, showered his sister inside with all sorts of sweet nothings. At first, his sister hesitated, but to her surprise, Lucas spent 2 whole days apologizing to her in every possible way, even promising he would never act so recklessly again. My sister's hand was on the doorknob, still unable to suppress a smile. I just knew my sister was about to face another hardship. The scene that followed was almost too much for me to watch. As soon as my sister opened the door, she was struck by an elbow from Lucas hiding outside, sending her sprawling to the ground. In the end, all she could do was clutch her forehead in pain, watching helplessly as their family once again carried away all the food. Before leaving, Lucas's father viciously kicked his sister in the head. "Ugh, you shameless gold digger. How dare you think of marrying my son, over my dead body? Who would have thought a girl like you could be so wicked, even stealing from me?" His sister lay motionless on the ground, her voice faint. "That was my food to begin with. Disgusting. Meeting you was the worst luck of my life." Lucas kicked his sister, who was blocking the doorway, aside and carried all the food back to his own home. The sister lay lifeless at the doorstep for 2 days before finally regaining enough strength to stand up. She then crouched by the door, hugging her knees, and cried for a long time. Even if she had the amplification system now, it would be of no use. She had no food left at all. Just when she was at her most desperate, she called me again. As soon as the call connected, my sister started crying, and she only spoke after she had cried her fill. "Sis," sob, "I was bullied, I was beaten so badly, my body hurts so much." "Sis," sob, "can you come save me? I'm really in so much pain, and I'm so hungry too. Are my bones broken?" Sob, "In the past, I would have felt heartbroken for my sister, wishing I could bear all her suffering in her place, but now, listening to her sobs, I remained unmoved." "You deserve it." I hung up the phone and went to the field to pick corn. Days passed, and my sister lay at the doorstep, growing thinner and thinner. During that time, many people passed by and forced her to use the magnification system to enlarge food, though reluctant. She had no choice but to comply after being slapped a few times. Until the last moment of her life, she crawled to Lucas's doorstep, her neck tilted, and died forever. As soon as Lucas opened the door, he found his already somewhat decomposed sister and kicked her away in disgust, not caring at all whether she lived or died. Another 2 years passed, and the heavy rain had already flooded the lower floors. But just as I had foreseen in my previous life, it did not threaten our floor. Just a few months before the heavy rain was about to end, Lucas's family was tragically wiped out. Their family had already had a bad reputation in the neighborhood, and after making such a fortune from their sister's desperate actions, many people had long held a grudge against them. In the final months after the heavy rain ended, everyone's food supplies had run out, but someone in the homeowners group spread the word that Lucas's family still had plenty of food left. Many people, armed with weapons, gathered in groups outside their house, smashing and shouting, demanding they hand over the food. Not only did Lucas and his family refuse, but they also hurled insults at the people outside, completely enraging them. Several groups of people had conspired together, taking turns to smash their front door, the sound of pounding never ceasing day or night. Finally, after 4 days, the front door of Lucas's house was completely shattered. All the food in their home was also looted clean, leaving the family sitting on the floor, wailing in despair. Without food, they simply couldn't survive the final few months. The neighborhood was in complete chaos, with bodies strewn everywhere and the sounds of crying and sighing all around. Meanwhile, in my little farm, I ate and drank to my heart's content and even gained 5 pounds. I held on until the very last moment. A message on my phone announced the end of the heavy rain. The sun finally broke through the thick layers of dark clouds, casting golden sunlight across the land, revealing a glimmer of hope. I was originally loosening the soil for the corn in the field when I suddenly felt a strange sensation. My previously shrunken body rapidly grew back to its original size. I've returned to my normal size. The farm and house beneath my feet now looked incredibly tiny. I opened the secret room with my phone and saw the house in complete disarray. Strange. Only I have returned to normal. Everything else remains at its original size. Maybe it's because there's some difference between the amplification system and the reduction system. After all, systems are inherently quite mysterious. I stood by the floor-to-ceiling window, watching the survivors run out of their homes, shouting at the sky. I also shouted at the sky. This time, I finally survived. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see the apocalypse disaster. Years of consecutive high temperatures and torrential rains. The system offered 3 skills for my sister and me to choose from: fixed, repetitive action. Mark, my sister snatched the latter 2 skills before I could, while I quietly picked up the first one. In the post-apocalyptic world with no water or electricity, I directly activated the skill, fixed, vacuum sealing and preserving all the food. When the zombies came, I used the skill again, sealing the doors and windows 100%, creating a perfect safe house that blocked the zombie invasion. But my sister, because she broke the rules, was chased down by zombies while trying to escape and lost a leg. Filled with resentment, she blamed all the mistakes on me. She marked the wardrobe in my house and teleported all the zombies to my home. I fought desperately to protect my sister, but she, with a frenzied look, teleported me into the horde of zombies along with her. Why should you get to live peacefully? If we die together. The zombies lunged forward, tearing apart every living thing in their path. Opening my eyes again, I found myself back on the day the system asked us. My younger sister immediately snatched the fixed skill, locked the doors and windows, and shut me outside, watching the rampaging zombies outside. I calmly marked the lamp by the entrance. After binding the remaining 2 skills, I simply vanished from my sister's world. 3 functions, each person can only choose one. The mechanical voice of the system sounded, just like in the previous life, staring at everything before me. I finally realized I had come back to life again. I actually returned. My legs are healed. My sister's excited voice rang in my ears. System, I want to fix it. I glanced at my sister and noticed her eyes were completely different from before. I immediately realized she had also been reborn. She looked at me with wary eyes. Sister, hurry up and choose. She was testing whether I remembered what happened in our past life. I saw her retreat into the house. From this distance, she could shut the door before I even reacted. Remembering how my beloved sister from our past life had pushed me into a horde of zombies without hesitation, I slowly concealed the emotions in my eyes. I looked at the remaining 2 skills and said with difficulty, System, I want to choose the other two." The system's voice was completely emotionless. Aloud, I bound the remaining two skills, pretending not to see my sister's gloating expression. In my previous life, she violated the system's rules by choosing two skills. But she didn't expect the extra skill to have a time limit. The day my sister desperately tried to escape by activating repeat action, her skills suddenly failed, and she was immediately caught by the zombies. She barely managed to survive, but a zombie bit off one of her legs. Heartbroken by my sister's situation, I gave her all the good food and useful items I found, never expecting her to not only remain ungrateful but also harbor resentment when I wasn't paying attention. She marked the wardrobe in my room and later transferred zombies inside at night. I know why my sister didn't keep the skill mark in this lifetime, because it has a flaw. When activated, it transfers the user along with the target. In our previous life, she was transferred along with the skill when she used it, and in the end, we were both bitten to death. Now, seeing me choose this skill, she didn't warn me at all. Only after experiencing the past life did I realize how deep my sister's resentment toward me was, so deep that she'd rather drag me down with her, even if it meant mutual destruction. And now she's back too. I know this ungrateful sister of mine is completely hopeless. Since my sister chose the first one, I'll take the remaining two, so we can help each other out. Hearing my naive words, my sister was completely convinced I hadn't returned. "Sis, hurry and go buy some supplies. Judging by the weather forecast, I think we won't be able to go out for a long time after this." I smiled. I knew my sister's personality would make her find a way to get rid of me so she could take over my home. When the apocalyptic disaster struck, it began with relentless heat waves and torrential rains. My sister called, saying she had nowhere to stay and nothing to eat, so out of pity, I took her in. Now she acts as if everything in my home rightfully belongs to her. Okay. I promised her to go out and buy supplies, leaving a mark on the doorknob when she wasn't paying attention. After I left, I quickly checked the surveillance footage at the door on my phone. However, the footage didn't appear for a long time. Sure enough, my sister knew I had installed surveillance at the door when I lived alone before and had already destroyed it. I could feel my sister turning the doorknob through the mark on it. With a click and a close, she went out too. I checked the date noted on my phone. In my previous life, when the apocalyptic disaster struck, it began with relentless rainstorms and scorching heat, leading to widespread water and power outages. Everyone thought it was just a temporary weather anomaly. They stocked up at home but made no other preparations, yet no one expected that the countless casualties caused by extreme weather were merely the prelude, followed by the outbreak of a rampant unknown virus. The virus led to mutated zombies running rampant, attacking and biting anyone in sight with devastating lethality. No one was prepared for any of this. What's even more terrifying is that once bitten by a zombie, one wouldn't survive for long, and the remaining time would be filled with unbearable suffering. It wasn't until 5 years later that a top-secret national research team developed an antidote, finally putting an end to this horrific catastrophe. And now, there are only 3 days left before the sudden, unanticipated downpour from the previous life. I quickly opened my phone's map and located all nearby large shopping malls, supermarkets, and pharmacies. Just then, my sister sent a message. "Sis, I used all the money in your bank card to buy supplies. You won't blame me, right? I think we should stock up as much as possible, or we won't know how to survive later." I looked at the transaction records one by one on my phone. Reminiscing about the past, as the eldest sister, I adored this sister who was 7 or 8 years younger than me, always giving her the best things. After starting university, I even set up a mobile payment account for her, fearing she might run out of money at school. But now, my sister clearly doesn't remember my love for her at all, only how to drain me dry and leave me to die in the apocalypse. The last trace of indulgence I had for her completely vanished. I glanced at my bank card balance that had been halved, then turned and headed to the nearest supermarket. I bought out all the food and drinks in stock, while others in the supermarket were frantically grabbing fresh chicken, duck, fish, and meat. I cleared out every last item of instant noodles, bread, and compressed biscuits, things with shelf lives of several years. My phone suddenly alerted me to ongoing transactions, and I saw 14:30 p.m., Star Supermarket, fish and meat purchase, $1,000. 14:35 p.m., Star Supermarket, roasted chicken purchase, $500. 14:40 p.m., West Asia Supermarket, tenderloin and pork belly purchase, $5,000. I looked at these spending records and smiled absent-mindedly. In my previous life, under my meticulous care. My younger sister lived a life where clothes were handed to her and meals were served to her, which led to her being spoiled by me. Despite knowing everything that happened in the past life, she had no basic life skills whatsoever. Only following the crowd and hoarding these instant foods. In the previous life, it rained heavily for 3 months straight, with continuous water and power outages. Under these conditions, poultry, meat, and fish would spoil within just a few days. Even after the government made great efforts to restore basic supplies, the electricity for appliances like air conditioners and refrigerators remained intermittent, making them completely unusable. People soon realized that all the food they had stockpiled had gone moldy and spoiled, leaving them with nothing to eat. They began to regret not storing more pre-made meals. I waited until the crowd had finished buying before approaching the counter, purchasing the remaining poultry, meat, and fish from the salesperson. This should be enough for me to eat in the first few weeks. After that, I went to get the remaining compressed biscuits and pre-made dishes, seeing my favorites like pickles, canned fish, canned fruit, and so on. I directly bought hundreds of boxes of each. Before leaving, I also took essential items like toilet paper. As I was about to leave the supermarket, I left marks on both the shelves and the floor to make it easier to return after the apocalypse. About 2 or 3 years after the apocalypse, the zombie virus was initially brought under control, and the government made great efforts to restore supplies. These places were also used as temporary distribution points. However, due to the zombies, no one was willing to risk going out to get supplies unless they were on the verge of starvation. But now, with the mark, skill and memories from my past life, I could almost effortlessly locate several other key supply stations and leave marks there. In my previous life, my sister kept complaining about being tired of canned fish and wanting fresh fish. I indulged her, willingly taking huge risks to restock supplies. With this skill in this life, the risks of going out are greatly reduced, so it's my turn to enjoy such a good life. I walked out of the supermarket. The issue of supplies has been resolved, and the next challenges are water resources and medicine. In the midst of the apocalyptic virus outbreak, even a common cold or fever could lead to infection. After the water and power supply were cut off, the water problem became even more severe than the electricity issue. Just as I was heading to the largest local factory, my sister sent another message. By the way, my boyfriend is also coming to stay at our place. The rain is too heavy, and he doesn't plan to go back. Sis, we finally have some alone time. Could you stay at a hotel for 3 nights and not come back? I sneered. To keep me from returning home for 3 days. My sister actually came up with such a foolish idea. Let her boyfriend Harry move in. I remembered how, in my past life, after she was bitten by a zombie, Harry never showed up again. I felt even more guilty, not only hiding the truth from her but also almost granting her every request. She kept posting on social media every day, flaunting her good life. Harry regretted going to see her, and she immediately begged me to let him stay, even threatening to break her leg. To appease my sister, I had no choice but to agree, silently maintaining the basic needs of all 3 of us. But in her eyes, none of this could compare to even the slightest bit of her boyfriend. I quickly turned off my phone. None of this matters anymore, since my sister turns a blind eye to the kindness of others. Let her and her beloved boyfriend face the test of reality together. I have more important things to do. I immediately grabbed a shared bike and headed to the largest local factory. There, I bought the highest quality hand crank generator available. I also directly sought out the local technician responsible for suburban hand pumps and recorded his manual hand pump water extraction movements. Then I went to the largest local pharmacy. After leaving marks on the shelves and floor, I directly bought all the special effect medicines and antidotes. The apocalypse is a breeding ground for viruses. Even if you avoid zombie attacks, a simple cold or fever could be fatal. So I also went to a traditional Chinese medicine shop to buy herbs and specifically noted down methods like tearing open Chinese medicine packets for preserving medicinal herbs. After coming out, I went to the skyscraper closest to the city center and rented the top floor apartment. When the apocalypse arrived, the lower levels were completely flooded, and those living in the upper floors were also trapped at home by the heavy rain, due to its proximity to the administrative building. This area had the strongest armed forces, sparing it from many zombie attacks, and I directly rented the most expensive apartment. The living conditions here are all top-notch, making it easy for me to settle in quickly. I filled all the refrigerators at home. The delivery staff also helped me stack up the supplies. After they left, I opened the floor-to-ceiling window and spread out all the herbs on the balcony. The balcony I chose is fully enclosed with glass, so there's no need to worry about the herbs getting wet from the rain. After completing all this, I directly used my second skill, repeat action, on the herbs. I took out the series of actions, tear herbal pack, to let the system automatically package the dried herbs for future use. With the first attempt successful, I silently clenched my fist in triumph. In my past life, my foolish sister only knew how to use this skill to effortlessly escape. Never realizing that the system wouldn't give something so useless. After being reborn, I gradually figured out the true brilliance of this skill. Although the skill has a time limit, using it solely for manual labor can completely avoid risks. As for that hand-cranked generator, I directly activated the skill to repeat the motion and generate continuous electricity. I marked all the canned food, medicine, and even the fire extinguishers in the hallway at home, and drew a marked map in my phone's memo. Only after completely resolving the medicine issue did I teleport to the outermost edge closest to the suburbs. This was the water supply point in my previous life. I used repeat action to record the motion of manually pumping water from a hand pump. The system automatically pumped water 24/7, and the storage barrel quickly filled up. The extreme heat of the apocalypse quickly evaporates and spoils stored water. While most of the water from supply systems is filled with sediment, in such conditions, clean, drinkable well water is an extremely rare resource. But now, this problem has been completely resolved. Over the next 3 days, I traveled all over the city, marking every supply station and water point. The extra time was spent at the farm and slaughterhouse. Here, full industrialization has been achieved, ensuring a constant supply of fresh vegetables and meat, even though the apocalypse has arrived. I still hope to live a better life than in my previous one, with fresh poultry, fish, and meat readily available to improve my meals. On the afternoon of the third day, I sent a message to my sister and activated the teleportation skill to appear at the doorstep. I knocked on the door, and as expected, there was no response. I deliberately called out, "Sister, are you home?" Still, there was no response. But I knew my sister was home, because the apocalypse is coming. She has nowhere else to go but my home. I can even feel the marked doorknob being tightly gripped by someone. It can only be that brainless and selfish sister of mine. I sighed in front of the door, pretending to be anxious as I leaned against it to block the peephole, while secretly hiding a pinhole camera in the stairwell's light fixture. After finishing all this, I pretended to be in a hurry and left. An hour after I left, my phone alerted me to a blue rainstorm warning. The sky suddenly turned dark, with lightning and thunder, and a heavy downpour began. This torrential rain would completely paralyze traffic, and the news would report it by tomorrow afternoon at the latest. Before the heavy rain arrived, all the household appliances and kitchenware I had pre-ordered, including the fully automatic robotic vacuum cleaner, had already been delivered to my doorstep. For 3 days, I was so busy that I barely had time to check the surveillance footage. Now, my new home is completely refreshed, and I'm comfortably lounging on the sofa. Since I left home, my sister hasn't sent me any messages, deliberately creating the illusion that she's not at home. Actually, I saw her and her boyfriend going in and out to stock up through the surveillance. The movers carried boxes of supplies into the house one after another, and such a commotion quickly caught the attention of the neighbors. I saw the old lady living next door come out and ask my sister, "Lily, you're home? Your sister just came by knocking on your door." My sister directed Harry to move her newly purchased alloy window frames and waterproof ceiling panels. I heard her say, "I don't know, I didn't hear anything." The old lady's eyes showed disbelief. "You didn't hear such loud knocking just now? I saw your sister leave. The weather forecast said there would be heavy rain. Where could your sister have gone?" Harry impatiently waved the old lady away. "What does our family matter have to do with you?" The old lady fell silent. Her son, hearing the commotion, quickly poked his head out and led her back with a dark expression. "Mom, don't mind them," locking her own sister outside while keeping a man inside. This younger sister clearly has no shame. Lily didn't hear the gossip from across the way, and Harry acted as if he hadn't heard it either. I smiled. My neighbor across the hall is an old lady and her son. The man from that household often comes home drunk late at night and has even vomited at my doorstep several times. The first time I opened the door in the morning and found foul-smelling vomit at the entrance, I went to knock on their door, but the man refused to admit anything. The old woman stood by with shifty eyes and said nothing. Later, I installed a surveillance camera at the door and showed them the footage as evidence, but the family still acted shamelessly. Just now when I knocked on the door, I clearly heard movement next door, but they didn't tell me even though they knew my sister was home. Instead, they waited for me to leave before opening the door. I had already been considering moving away from this awful family, and if it weren't for the heavy rain, I would have left long ago. Now, since my sister wants to monopolize my house, let them deal with these terrible neighbors. I got up to set up the grill, sprinkling cumin powder on the skewers. I then took out the chilled watermelon from the fridge. While waiting for the barbecue, I casually glanced at the surveillance footage and couldn't help but laugh. Harry, who had remained unfazed by the insults earlier, was now affectionately holding Lily on his lap. The two were glued to each other, feeding each other grapes while sneaking in kisses and touches. Harry said to Lily, "Sweetheart, we don't even have enough money to stock up on supplies, why waste it on useless metal frames?" Lily was probably so charmed that she became utterly infatuated, speaking in a mysterious tone, "It's not enough, in the future, the food shortage won't just last 4 or 5 years. What's worse is," she whispered something into Harry's ear, and his expression changed instantly. "Will such things really exist?" Lily declared with absolute certainty. "Of course, they'll appear within 6 months at most." Harry was visibly frightened by what he heard. "Then what should we do?" Lily whispered something in his ear, and Harry's eyes instantly lit up. "Baby, you actually have this kind of skill." Of course, Lily directly activated her skill in front of Harry, sticking the metal window frame to the window. I just watched this foolish sister recklessly expose her special ability in front of outsiders. I roughly knew Lily bought these things to reinforce the house and doors, but I never expected her to be so stupid, revealing everything with just a few words. The money in the bank card wasn't much taken by Lily because I stopped the loss in time, and the supplies she bought seemed far from enough, and besides, she also needed to reinforce the house, leaving very little money left. I was just about to see what method my sister would use to survive the remaining years when, not knowing what Harry said, Lily hugged him. Her eyes sparkled as she said, "Honey, you're so smart, this way we'll have enough money," as the two were being all lovey-dovey. Harry suddenly said, "Your sister won't suddenly show up, will she?" Lily heard my name, her face showing no expression at all. "The heavy rain tonight has completely blocked the roads, she has nowhere to go and definitely won't be able to come back, right?" I ate chilled watermelon while listening to her words, unable to suppress a cold laugh. "Since my dear sister wishes for my death so much, I'll make sure to survive and thrive. I wonder how long she'll last in this apocalyptic world without me." Her sister, especially after revealing her special abilities, "The next 6 months were extremely comfortable for me. The heavy rain indeed paralyzed the entire city's transportation." News reports also began to cover, on a small scale, how the heavy rain and high temperatures were causing a virus to gradually spread. Some people even posted in panic on social media, saying the rain had washed open their doors and they had been bitten inside their own homes. Rumors about zombies suddenly spread among the people. It wasn't until the media reported the virus isolated by scientists from animals that the origin of the zombies was confirmed. Meanwhile, a new difficulty arose on Lily's side. Harry suddenly said to Lily, "Sweetheart, my parents have completely run out of supplies over there. I want to bring them here to live with us. If what you said turns out to be true, our whole family can reunite here." I noticed Lily seemed hesitant. Just when I thought she had finally come to her senses, Harry started sweet-talking her with kisses and hugs. "You said you don't like eating bread, right? Perfect timing. My mom can help with cooking when she arrives, and my sister can take care of the cleaning. That way, you won't have to do anything and can just relax every day." I watched as Lily quickly relented and agreed. Finally putting my mind at ease, thought she'd grown some brains. Turns out she hasn't. There was already barely any food left at home, yet she still wanted to take in more mouths to feed. How utterly foolish. As for Harry's solemn promise that Lily would only need to enjoy herself, I could only scoff in disdain. Soon she would learn that in this world, only true family would unconditionally be good to her. Everyone else was just scheming against her. Harry's family soon came knocking. I watched as Harry's mother wandered around my house, the judgment in her eyes unmistakable. Harry's younger brother went straight for the supplies as soon as he entered the door. I saw him howling with hunger, so I tore open a roasted chicken and a pack of pickled bamboo shoots for him. Even after finishing those, he still wanted more and reached for the packaged chicken drumsticks. Noticing Lily's expression, Harry whispered, "My brother is starving, we have plenty at home anyway, so just let him eat, darling." Lily was carried out of the room by him and, probably thinking the supplies were enough, quickly forgot about the matter. As soon as Harry's sister sat down, she gasped heavily, "Is the house safe? Those terrifying things outside are spreading like wildfire." Before Lily could react, Harry had already spilled the beans about her special ability. "Of course it's safe. Lily reinforced all the doors and windows. Even if those things come, Lily's place will be the strongest. I saw a flicker of panic in Lily's eyes, but it quickly disappeared. Harry's mother heard about Lily's special ability, and greed flashed in her eyes. This is a great ability. Lily is truly a blessing for our family. The whole family flattered Lily, making her instantly feel elated. The streets were completely deserted, with no one venturing outside. Every household trembled with fear as the shadow of death quickly loomed over everyone, yet, Lily's family showed not the slightest panic. They ate and drank daily, consuming vast amounts of supplies. The 10th month of the apocalypse, for several days in a row, they had been eating plain steamed buns with pickles at the dinner table. I could tell Lily was on the verge of breaking down, even during the toughest times in my previous life. I never let her eat something so meager. I could see her regret growing with each passing day. Every time she was about to explode, Harry stopped her. It's true that love makes even water taste sweet. I couldn't help but laugh. I was enjoying chilled watermelon, grilling skewers, and even had the leisure to set up a hot pot. I snapped a few photos and posted them on my social media. Soon after, my sister, who hadn't contacted me for months, suddenly sent me a message. "Sis, where are you?" Probably because I didn't reply for a few minutes. Her messages became increasingly urgent. "Sis, I couldn't reach you for several months. I was so worried about you I could die." This line made me laugh again. Lily didn't call or message me once in all these months, yet she has the nerve to say she was worried about me. "Sis, where are you? How come you still have barbecue to eat? It looks so delicious. Sis, why aren't you coming home? There's no food left at home. I remember you have the marking ability. Just bring the food directly home to eat. How convenient would that be?" Her tone couldn't hide her anxiety, eager to extract all the food from me. I smirked. Has this foolish sister finally remembered the ability she abandoned? I replied to her, "The road is blocked. Staying outside for now. I saw you used my card to buy supplies. Those should last you for a while." Seeing my response, Lily grew even more anxious. "Sis, that stuff isn't enough to eat. Your barbecue and hot pot look so delicious. I want some too. Sis, I'm so glad you're alive. Come home quickly. We're sisters who only have each other." Even now, Lily still wants to hide the fact about how many mouths she's feeding at home, even trying to play the pity card to trick me into going back. Too bad, I regretfully told her. I can't go back, sis. I didn't mark anything at home. It even came with a picture of me devouring some incredibly fragrant crayfish. The plump, tender meat looked so delicious you could almost smell its mouth-watering aroma through the screen. Lily's messages grew increasingly frantic, soon reduced to a flood of drooling and sobbing emojis. Even through the screen, I could feel my sister's despair. Lily now recalls how she had inadvertently cut off her own path with her own hands. How does it feel to see but not be able to eat? Sis, I'm so hungry. I need food / crying loudly. In the past, seeing Lily send such a sticker, I would have risked everything to go out and find fresh ingredients for her, just like in my previous life, never letting her suffer even a little. But now, I can vividly imagine the expression on her face. Her face must be filled with jealousy and resentment. Why can I eat so well while she can only gnaw on plain steamed buns? Sis, I really want to eat it. Hurry up and think of a way to come back. I want to eat so badly want to eat. I replied with a smile, no. Unless you dare to come out. I knew my sister would never come out, in this lifetime. She'd rather give up the other two skills and choose fixed, which proves just how terrified she is of being bitten. Sure enough, Lily quickly recalled the nightmare from her past life, being chased by zombies and having one of her legs bitten off. I turned on the surveillance and, as expected, saw her face twisted with resentment. Not a trace of the adorable innocence I remembered remained. My sister had long since transformed into a hideous version of herself that I no longer recognized, and indeed, that was the truth. The next day, I noticed my sister starting to stir up trouble. She directly posted the photos I sent onto the city's online forum, with the caption, "My sister's lunch, so delicious it's beyond imagination. Does anyone know if the transportation to my sister's place has been restored? I want to go live with her and enjoy the good life." Big smiley face. Half a year into the apocalypse, every household has been hiding indoors, and supplies are nearly exhausted. At this moment, Lily posted the lunch I was eating, even attaching a high-definition photo of me. I was so angry I laughed. The most brainpower my brainless sister has ever used in her life must have been spent on trying to ruin me. Looking at the discussions below, Lily had only posted it for 2 hours, yet the thread's popularity kept soaring. Most comments in the discussion section are saying that there's too little information in these few photos, with only one person commenting. Those who can still cook hot pot at home now are probably in apartment areas near the city center. It's been months, and their gas hasn't run out yet. Also, the pattern of this tablecloth looks. Halfway through the comment, everyone started asking him questions, and he only replied, "There's too little information to make a judgment for now." After a while, he sent another message. "It's tentatively confirmed to be the villa area near the city center. We can only determine if someone has seen her." My younger sister sent me many messages in a row. "Sister, where are you now? Sis, hurry up and tell me where you are. 0 sis, come on, spill it." At this point, this silly little sister doesn't even bother hiding her intentions. I texted her directly. "Begging won't make me tell you. Guess for yourself." I read the post again and confirmed that the scope only extended to the villa area near the city center, so I didn't bother with it further. After all, with zombies roaming everywhere and roads flooded, even if they figured out where I lived, few could actually make it here. As for the photos, I haven't stepped outside since moving here, so hardly anyone would remember what I look like. Besides, I've been here for nearly a year without any movement. Those below probably think I starved to death long ago. I teleported with a bucket to the water fetching spot. Just as the system had drawn half the water, I suddenly sensed that the marked fire extinguisher I left at the door had been moved. I quickly teleported back and, peering through the peephole, saw a man from downstairs, probably assuming no one was home. The man was attempting to pick the lock to steal. Too bad I was already prepared. Not only was this door custom-made by me, but there are also 5 internal locks inside after opening, completely sealed. Unless the door is smashed, there's no way to open it from the outside. The man struggled for a long time but still couldn't open the door, so he eventually turned and left. Meanwhile, following the mark on the fire extinguisher he stole, I teleported to the rooftop corner where he had hidden the supplies. I didn't take anything, because I knew it's always best not to push people to the brink, as it could easily lead to extreme situations. After returning home, I immediately activated the skill, repeat action, to record throwing stones, making the system throw a stone onto the rooftop every hour to warn him not to come back. For the next several days, the man was indeed too scared to return. In the 13th month of the apocalypse, the city completely lost water and electricity, and the damp environment caused food to mold quickly. Lily's food supply was gradually running out. With no new provisions in sight, I watched as she tried to mimic my technique from my past life, using her skill to glue the moldy parts of the bread together. She wanted to follow my example, but due to her lack of common sense, the mold spread even faster through the gaps, ruining the entire bag of bread. What a waste to raise. Only intact bread can stick like this. Moldy bread should be thrown away. I could already feel her losing control of her temper more and more. One day, Lily suddenly flew into a rage after eating dry bread and getting wheat bran stuck in her teeth. "I want roast chicken." She didn't even care about her image in front of Harry and directly snatched the last packaged roast chicken in the house. The spicy aroma of the roast chicken wafted out, and Harry's younger brother suddenly cried out in hunger. Rushing forward to grab it from Lily's hands, Harry's mother's screams filled the entire room. Even Harry's attempt to mediate was useless, as Lily's nails left 3 scratches on his face. The outcome of Lily and little brother Harry's fight was half a chicken leg ending up on the floor. Lily hesitated for a moment, only for the little boy to snatch it right out of her mouth and eat it. Watching this scene, I couldn't help but want to laugh. Lily, who had returned from the apocalypse, turned out to be more particular than those who had never experienced it. All of this was spoiled by me. This filled me with mixed emotions. In a fit of anger, I opened a bottle of beer, paired it with 2 hairy crabs, took a photo, and sent it to my sister. The hairy crabs in the photo looked delicious in every way, and I was eating them with greasy lips. This time I directly removed the tablecloth, with the background being an A4 paper placed under a steamer. My sister called immediately, her voice dripping with resentment so thick it could almost ooze juice. "Sis, do you have some survival secret? How else could you have so much delicious food?" I laughed. Guess what? That sentence completely broke her defenses. I could even hear the sound of the cup hitting the ground. "Where the hell are you?" Lily couldn't control her voice as she roared in anger. "Hee hee," I chuckled softly, still saying the same line. Guess what? After saying that, I hung up and checked the surveillance feed. Sure enough, I saw her face twisted with madness. I shook my head. This was just the beginning. When her supplies run out completely, she'll truly witness the depths of human nature. I thought Lily would be running out of supplies by now and wouldn't be able to cause any more trouble. Unexpectedly, the next day she called me, sincerely lowering her head to apologize. Sis, I really know I was wrong. I beg you to help me, please, to apologize to me. Lily even resorted to emotional blackmail. Sister, have you forgotten how much you used to dote on me? Sister, you promised to support me through college, but now I'm going to starve to death before even graduating. Sister, please help me. I really have no other choice. Of course, I knew she had no other choice. Originally, the supplies she had stockpiled were enough for a young girl like her to survive the entire apocalypse safely. But she just had to take in her boyfriend and even brought her whole family over, adding 4 or 5 extra mouths to feed all at once. Naturally, the supplies weren't enough anymore. I looked at Lily on the phone, her eyes filled with resentment yet still feigning grievance as she spoke to me, and said, "My skill can't go back, you'll have to figure it out yourself. The system gave us skills, they can't be completely useless, right?" After saying this, I hung up. Through the surveillance, I could see that someone near Lily had been bitten by a zombie. I believe my brainless little sister can definitely come up with a more perfect solution. The next day, I got up early to check on the herbs and found Lily had posted another video. As soon as I opened my phone, she welded the windows and door frames shut for reinforcement, proudly filming and sharing it in the group. "Look, I can protect against floods and zombies. People bitten by zombies live a life worse than death every day. And the entire neighborhood is in a state of panic." As soon as Lily posted this video, it instantly attracted attention, with some even claiming that the savior of the apocalypse had finally appeared. Through the surveillance cameras, I watched the lively scene outside my door every day. Just as someone was knocking on the door, Harry's mother suddenly came out to stop them. They came up with a flawless plan yesterday, to exchange food for helping others reinforce their doors and windows. "If you want our Lily's help, you must trade with food." The first to come knocking was, of course, the man from the house across the street. When Harry's mother offered to exchange food, the old lady across the street turned pale and tried to leave. Harry's mother said fearlessly, "It's fine if you don't want to trade, but don't regret it if you get bitten." When two mothers meet, one is bound to get hurt. The son insisted on trading food, leaving the neighbor's old lady too angry to speak. Her son had recklessly gone out once before and nearly got bitten. Since then, he refused to go out no matter what. The old lady claimed she wasn't afraid, but with more people getting bitten recently, she had no choice but to reluctantly offer a sandwich in exchange. Lily glanced at the sandwich and sneered, "One sandwich can only seal one window at most." In the end, Lily welded several stainless steel pots from the old lady's house firmly onto the windows. The man clearly wanted to say more, but Lily leveraged her numerical advantage. In the end, he could only glare at them fiercely before entering and locking the door tightly. Soon, Lily began helping neighbors by fixing things in exchange for food, becoming the celebrity of the neighborhood. I watched as she eagerly flaunted her abilities to the whole world, even feeling amused. Out of countless possible methods, Lily effortlessly chose the dumbest one, exposing herself. She helped fix the leaking ceiling for the neighbor downstairs and received a large bag of slightly moldy bread in return. After eating wheat bran for several days, finally having some food, my younger sister naturally treasured it like a priceless gem. Harry must have said something to Harry's mom, because she kept praising her as capable, making her even more elated. So she took out the bread to share with the whole family. I overheard Harry still coaxing her, "Sweetheart, since you're so capable, you'll definitely be able to exchange for better supplies. This bread is a bit moldy, so let my mom and the others have it. I lay at home, and the hand-crank generator kept my house powered from start to finish." I took ice cream from the fridge and sent a photo to Lily. Lily went completely crazy. She mobilized her entire family to start bullying the entire neighborhood. Every time she reinforced a household's doors and windows, she would directly go inside to pick out the best supplies. Those who disagreed were immediately blocked outside by Harry's family. Harry's family ran rampant throughout the neighborhood and soon faced retribution. Someone came to steal supplies in the middle of the night. Lily tried to use fixed to seal her door and frame shut. But an earthquake at night deformed the frame, trapping her inside and nearly suffocating her. She finally escaped by smashing the window, but her arm was cut by broken glass. The weather was scorching hot, and she broke down crying at home, while her wounds rapidly became inflamed and festered due to the lack of medicinal herbs. Lily finally understood fear. The despair of having a leg bitten off in her previous life once again enveloped her. Looking at the severely damaged neighborhood after the earthquake, I realized the timing was almost right. The 18th month of the apocalypse, zombies surrounded the entire city, and no one dared to step outside anymore. I casually tossed away the fruit peel and answered Lily's video call. "Sis, I got hurt by broken glass but have no medicine, it's too hot, and the wound is infected." While Lily was speaking, I was sitting on the herb-covered balcony eating ice cream. Even letting her see the perfectly functioning air conditioner in my house. "Sis, you have medicine over there, don't you? You're so selfish. I'm injured like this, and you don't even think to send me some medicine." I raised an eyebrow. "It's too dangerous outside, little sister, unless you come get it yourself. Of course, even if you beg me, there's nothing I can do to help." Lily even lost control of her expression for a moment, revealing a vicious look. "How did you do it? Why do you still have electricity there?" I rolled my eyes, looking at her sunken cheeks and prominent cheekbones from hunger. "Guess for yourself." The humid environment amplified people's impatience. Just from talking, sweat had already formed on Lily's forehead. I saw it and even took an ice-cold drink from the fridge. I showed her the freshly retrieved ice-cold cola, still fizzing with white vapor. This time, my sister finally caught on. She screamed loudly, "You came back too. You came back too, didn't you?" I smiled and repeated the same line. "Guess for yourself." Lily completely lost her mind, storming into my room and smashing everything to pieces. Now my room is occupied by Harry's mother, who immediately grabbed Lily by the hair, hitting and kicking her. "What the hell is wrong with you, daring to cause trouble in my territory?" Lily had always been picky about food, and lately, she hadn't been eating much at all, starving and weak. She was thrown to the ground by Harry's mother, her body aching from the impact. The festering wounds were scraped open, and pus spilled everywhere. Harry rushed in. Lily reached out to him, but he ignored her and went to help his mother instead. I saw the disbelief on Lily's face. "I'm tired of watching these dogs bite each other. How foolish to still not see the true nature of this family." I don't know how Harry managed to deceive Lily later, but I saw her sitting alone at home, her hands clasped together anxiously. Seeing the timing was about right, I took advantage of the entire hallway turning dark to move all the large garbage bags from our home to the front door. No one noticed as the piled-up trash began emitting a foul odor. Then in the middle of the night, the door suddenly started making loud, thud thud thud, banging sounds. Lily was startled, and I slowly curled my lips, because through the surveillance, I had already seen several zombies gathering outside. The door of my house was being battered by zombies, on the verge of collapse. Harry's family showed expressions of terror, because I had piled up trash all over the hallway. The stench of rotting fruit peels and meat attracted zombies. They could even hear the sound of the next door being smashed open. The howls of the bitten man filled the entire hallway. Harry's mother quickly pulled Lily out of the room, but Lily was still angry about what happened during the day. Harry's mother had no choice but to apologize to her. "Lily, what happened this afternoon was my fault. Please help us, or our whole family will be bitten to death." Harry's sister was so scared that she hid in the room and screamed. Harry was also scared stiff, coaxing Lily with sweet words to take action. Lily was frightened too and quickly used her skill, fixation, to stick the refrigerator and washing machine by the door as barriers. I watched this scene calmly through the surveillance. Why did I give up my own house in the first place? Lily is just too naive. Does she really think this can hold off the zombies? The skill given by the system is indeed overpowered, but the areas without skill reinforcement still have flaws. Unless she can fix the entire house, it's completely useless. When the zombies crashed into the door, the rigidly fixed appliances couldn't absorb the impact, causing the door to collapse instead. To escape, Harry's family pushed Lily out to block the zombies. She fled in panic back to her own home, but because Harry pushed her out without hesitation, Lily's leg was still bitten during the escape. Lily felt as if she had returned to the life-and-death moment of her previous life. She desperately secured everything to the door until there was nothing left within reach to use. Through Mark, I sensed Lily's movements near the bed, realizing she was trapped in the bedroom. I quickly checked the surveillance footage. Seeing that the zombies had left, I used teleportation to arrive at the front door. The neighbor's house had completely collapsed, and the only male in the household was trapped under the rubble, desperately calling for help. The living room was already in ruins, and I couldn't be bothered to care about the fleeing Harry family. Leaving this relatively safe zone would basically mean certain death. Even if they miraculously escaped the zombies, they wouldn't survive more than a month due to lack of supplies. I arrived at my room's doorway, which had been completely welded shut by Lily. Using the repeat action function, I recorded knocking, and the system automatically repeated the knocking to simulate the sound of zombies banging on the door. The rainstorm continued to pour relentlessly, and Lily, already shaken, screamed in terror inside the house. Soon, she realized she was powerless. Forced to watch helplessly as floodwater seeped through the door cracks, accompanied by the growls of zombies, I used the repeat action skill to record the action of loosening the gas valve, then moved the kitchen's gas canister to the bedroom and the neighbor's doorstep. But this time, when I activated the skill, the recorded action failed to take effect. Just like in my previous life, the time for the skill to deactivate arrived. I calmly took out a lighter and similarly recorded the ignition action. Only after completing all this did I leave. Once the deactivation period passed, the gas tank valve would be slowly turned open, and when that day would come depended entirely on their luck. Returning home, I had a good night's sleep. When I woke up the next day and checked the surveillance, I noticed the water that had seeped in during the previous heavy rain was gradually receding. This was just like the situation in my past life. Despite the rain growing heavier, my home miraculously remained unflooded. This is probably another kind of chosen by fate luck. I watched the surveillance footage, and the skill was reactivated around midnight, since Lily used fixation to glue the windows shut, creating an unbreakable seal. If water flooded the room, there would be no way to escape, and when she glued the ceiling, she accidentally sealed the ventilation ducts too. Cutting off airflow inside the house, I located the lighter at her bedroom door through the marker. After a night of cooling, the repetitive action became effective again. As the lighter gently clicked, boom, the flames devoured everything in an instant, including the camera that had recorded it all. 3 days later, the city network released a news report stating that a sudden massive explosion had occurred in my residential area due to a zombie attack. I saw a video footage captured by a resident upstairs during the incident. In the video, Harry's family frantically rushed out of the hallway, only to be suddenly ambushed by a horde of zombies from downstairs. Harry's younger brother had his arm slashed open by a claw. Harry's mother, who had initially fled, desperately grabbed Harry's sister and Harry, demanding they turn back to save the youngest son. As a result, the family missed their best chance to escape due to the argument and were soon overwhelmed by the horde of zombies. I stretched lazily while watching the relentless downpour outside. There are still 3 years until the end of the apocalypse. Supply stations are being rapidly established while transportation routes are being restored to deliver resources to various regions. As I scooped water with a ladle, I found the bucket empty. I should go fetch water. While waiting for the system to automatically refill my water storage bucket, I occasionally think of Lily, but quickly pushed the thought aside. In this life, without a sister to hold me back, I will continue to live even better. That's all the story. What do you think of this story? Share with me in the comments section. What would you do if you were in this situation? Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.